Welcome back to RGR, everyone. It's been quite an evening for me. Hope you were able to see the earlier video that went up that had all the information on the draft board. See, there's a great group in here. Thank you all for waiting. Sorry, I'm a little bit late. Traveling back tonight from sports activities with the family and that kind of thing. So running a little bit behind, but we're going to make up for it because we're going to get into a mock draft that I think you guys are going to enjoy. I hope that you will, certainly. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ryan. This is RGR Football, Ryan Going Rogue. And we've got a lot of content to go over tonight. We're going to get into this last and final mock draft. And you guys are going to make the picks. This is the way that we've been doing it all season. So that I'll give you guys, we'll narrow it down to an A, B, give you the vote, and you guys will make those selections. We're going to go a little bit tighter tonight. It's very late for some folks, especially the East Coasters. So we're not going to run the whole hour. We'll probably go 20, 30 minutes and call it that. But I do need your input because this is our last opportunity to do this. Thank you, Michael. Hey, and glad to know that. Love that. I appreciate you guys. Again, sorry for the timing, but I appreciate you guys being here very much. So I think we will get into it. I'm going to bring the board up here. And if you haven't seen my board yet, I will show you exactly where you can go get it. It is free and unlocked on NFL 33, and that's going to give you what you need. If I add that to the stream, here's the post. If you go to NFL33.com, and let's see, I can probably zoom in on that a little bit. Evidently not. The address isn't getting any bigger, but it is NFL33.com, and you will get to the main dashboard, the front page, and this is the current top post. It's Will Anderson on top because he's my number one overall prospect, and we've talked a little bit about that through this process. Going to record Locked On Chiefs here in a little bit, and Chris and I will go over both of our tops, I think, as well as going through some of the conversation around, what is the final preparation going on for. So I appreciate that. Hall from Auburn. I do like him. He's a straight, linear athlete. He's a downhill rusher. Don't see a ton of bend out of him, so I think he's a little bit lower prospect, but he is somebody that can get after the passer. So I think he could be an option in here. I'm going to try to get through a bunch of your questions as we move through this, but let's get started because the board is right here. And at NFL 33, a lot of the top content is behind the paywall that is Substack. That's how we fund doing all the work and spending all the time, the hours and hours and hours Dan and I spend on this, as well as the rest of our team with Jeff Porter and EJ Holt. Damian Parson was helping us out for a time, and he will be back next year. We're going to grow the group here that helps us with this. But right now, you can see the fruit of all of my labor by just going to this post, clicking on it, and you're going to get a PDF that is the representation of all 7 rounds of every position across it. And it is clearly something that I have mislabeled and still have as 2022. So we're going to update that tonight before I get to bed. But we're going to start now on the mock draft. So, Terry, I appreciate you, and I am happy to do it. No Twitch emotes. Sorry there, little caddy. I don't keep those. KJ Henry is you're going to hear some strange sounds in the background as the teenagers are trying to get ready for bed here after a very long weekend. So are there any tanks at edge or tackle? There's a tank at wide receiver. That's for sure. There are a couple of guys that are oversized edges. That's for sure. Lucas Van Ness is one. Keon White is another. There are some guys as well that Carl Brooks can play it on the edge, or he did at Bowling Green at least. Some guys that lean that way. But I think there's also some undersized D tackles that I think you're going to be looking at here too. Let's see. Addicted. Is there any possible way to reach Quentin Johnson? Yes, there is, and I don't know that they have to reach. He's been becoming more and more available at the 31st pick, and that's why unless we get a big offer in this mock draft, we're going to let this thing unfurl and see what comes of it, and just kind of ride it out as we go. So again, if you guys need the address for the draft guide, I'll probably refer to that a few times tonight as well. You can get it over at rogueapc.com. That's here, but if you do, I just want to display it. I don't need to edit it. If you do, make sure you use that code RGR23. Gets you a nice discount. And I appreciate all the support here. Ton of sales on the draft guide this year. We really appreciate that. not as many folks using the codes, whether it's the locked on code or the RGR code, but please do. Don't feel like you got to spend the full amount. Like, I want to get you guys the discount. So please take advantage of that. It's out there for you guys because you guys are such great supporters, and I want to get you something back for it. So that's where you can get it. I am going to answer every super chat tonight. I promise you. It's going to be kind of a quicker show, but I will get those done. So get any super chats in now, and I'll be able to stack them up and get everything taken care of so we don't get behind. So here is the draft board, and I'll try to zoom it in a little bit as we get going, and I probably need to widen it out a little bit, make that more palatable on the screen. There we go. So I'm going to run it, and it's going to go slow. I don't have the super speed on because I kind of want to take a couple of check-ins here after 9, say. And if we get trade offers, we'll look at that and that kind of thing. In this particular scenario, it's quarterback. Levis is interesting. And then Skoronski goes over Will Anderson, who is still my top overall prospect. Jalen Carter does go in the top 10. Stroud comes in, Richardson comes in, and Jackson Smith-Njigba. We've talked about him as a possible fit for the Chiefs. They would have to trade up a long way, and I do agree with where this is putting him. And with Skoronski off the board, it means tackles are coming. Bijan goes early. That's crazy. As a top 10 pick to the Eagles. I think they can probably wait till later, but that's just me. Gonzalez goes. Miles Murphy, who's been falling down quite a bit, is now available. And Broderick, we've talked about him quite a bit as well, goes at 13. So this is the area where I start to look at trades. No offers yet, and I'm not going to initiate that yet. We're going to see what Tyree goes, Addison, Quentin Johnson goes at 19 to the Bucks. Zay goes right after him. So it's a mini run here on wide receivers, and that is something that we could possibly see. I don't think that's far-fetched in any way. It looks like my visual is covering up that piece. So let me fix this window here, give you guys a better look. And so it went Jordan Addison, Quentin Johnson, Zay Flowers, which just so happens to be my exact order over on the big board that I will get corrected for the right year. I do have it in that order, in that JSN, Addison, Quentin Johnson, and then Zay Flowers. I just have Zay Flowers and Quentin Johnson a little bit lower. I have them outside the first round. And that could possibly be true. You could get somebody taking them as well. So I see some of the comments are coming up. I got a couple of super chats squared away there. And then I'm stacking up some of your questions as well. I'll try to get to the questions as I can. If not, we'll get to them all tomorrow night as we're kind of on a tighter timeline. So I don't feel the need to scramble right now. I want to see how this board comes out in case the Chiefs get stuck. And by getting stuck, I mean being in a position where they can't trade out, whether they make an offer and it doesn't come through, or we get an offer and it just isn't up to par. So let's review. Lucas Van Ness goes. I think this is much better range. He is, I want to say, DT2 on my board, but he is in the second round. I do not have a first round grade on because he is a pretty significant projection. So I think this is getting closer to reality. Brzee goes, Kincaid goes, Torrance, McDonald. I still think that's high for him. Deontay Banks goes. Anton goes now above the guy that is clearly here for us, and that's Darnell Wright, that plugs in on the right-hand side and allows Jawaan Taylor to go to the left. Do you guys want him? Or RB in this situation, we are going to look at who's available on Felix is there. We have a lot of trade offers, and I do think this is a reality. If the Chiefs don't have somebody on the board, they're going to have their pick. Arizona is one that I have talked about. Moving back to 34 in a D-Hop kind of thing could be a scenario that we see. So I do think that is something on the table. But for this, we're not going to forego. We're going to take a selection in the first round. So in the chat, please vote. Darnell, or it looks like it's going to be Felix is our second option. Let me double check that. Yes. I think that there's a relative possibility that somebody's going to select BJ Ojulari in the first round as well. So he could be a possibility there. Is Nolan gone? I do think Nolan is gone, if I saw correctly. And yes, he is. I must have missed when, though. Yeah, he went at 14 to the Patriots. So we have Darnell Wright and we have Felix. And the top wide receiver on the board to us right now is going to be well down my list in terms of getting into the second round. So I don't think there's any reason to rush that. So let's go. Darnell Wright or Felix, FAU from K-State. Looks like A lot of rights in here, a lot of rights. Yes, that does look. Thank you, Love Bat. Appreciate that. So we're going to go and make our selection with the top guy on the board. Top guy on my board in this situation is likely to be Darnell Wright as well. And now we have our bookend tackle. We're going to let that go and let it chip down here through the selections. Now, Felix does go, BJ goes, Hendon Hooker goes. There's Tommy Adewale. You get into the Musgrave, Avila. He is my top guard on this list outside of Skoronski. So, unfortunately, what we saw late happen is that both Cedric Tillman went and Julius Brents went. Two guys that I think could be available here. And I know you're saying, why corner, Rye? It's because the Chiefs still want to make sure that they never let the secondary fall off either. So let's see what we have available to us again. Tank Dell is way overrated here. I will not put that up for debate. We're not going to select him. Darius Rush is a possibility here. I do agree with that. Mims is a little high here, but I think that could be a possibility. Wilson, Battle. Luckily, we don't need the tackle. So let's look at both defensive inside. Kobe Turner, a little early for him, in my opinion. And edge. Tuli Tuipulotu he's a tweener, and he does not belong anywhere near this ranking. It's kind of funny, I got to tell you. The best guy on the board is going to be, in my opinion, either Isaiah McGuire or Byron Young. And then at the other positions of need that we have, we could look. I love Zach Charbonnet's game. Can't take a running back in this situation. I do like Rashee Rice over Mims myself. So let's do that. Let's see what you guys think. Is it Rashee Rice or is it our guy Derek Hall from Auburn, the edge? Vote down there in the chat. Oh, let's see. I do believe Hall. Thank you for the question. Let me double check. I do believe I have Hall in the second. Yes, I do. And so that's a solid value pick at this spot, according to my board, as well as most of those that I trust. So it looks like it's Hall. Okay, I agree with that. And I think that's the better option because I think there's receivers that we can go to in the next round as well. So we're going to pick up Derek Hall and feel pretty good about what we're doing in the trenches. And I think that's something that's going to pay off. I know Auburn can trigger some folks. Byron Young was the other option, Jackson, but I do have Hall over him, especially in a straightforward power-based Steve Spagnuolo front. Byron Young just did go, so did Tank Dell. Zach Harrison comes in. That's early for him. Rashee goes. A.T. Perry went. He was a wide receiver that is on my board. And there's a great video that he did with Brett Coleman that you guys need to see. So if you get a chance, take a look at that because I do think he's somebody that's on the Chiefs' radar. And so as we look down, we're into the third round now. We have another edge in Isaiah McGuire. I think that's about where I have him on my board. Let me double check that. No, I do have him a little bit lower than that, but I do like his potential there. He is a developmental guy. He's not ready to come in and start or play significant snaps. I do believe Luke Schoonmaker is, Moro Jomo is. Michael Wilson certainly can, although I would not put him probably next. Sidney Rice is a safety. Corey Trice. Don't need a guard. Let me know what you guys are thinking. But I'm leaning towards Luke Schoonmaker as an option here versus probably KJ Henry's out there, like Freeland's out there. This is way too high for Deuce. I love Deuce, but he's a day 3 dude. He's not 109. I'll tell you that. We got the tackle. We have more edges. We have the other Byron Young, and we have Eli Ricks. Voorhees is going to be a steal, I do believe, folks. I do think he's going to get pinned and just stashed for a while. We have a couple of Ajomos in here. We have a Brown. I think Sydney, either of the Brown guys are, Sydney in particular at safety is a luxury at this point. I don't think we can take that. So I think we're looking at either Luke Schoonmaker or Moro Jomo. What do you guys have? Let me know in the chat. A couple of Ajomos so far. A Schoon, another Luke, a couple. Chandler, Zavala. I don't know that the Chiefs can spend a top 100 pick on a guard. I just got to tell you. So we're not going to go there, but we'll keep an eye on him. I do think he has a chance of going. Looks like there's more Jomos than Luke's. Keep going, and I'm going to address some of the super chats. Breezy came from HTBC channel after your collaboration. Oh, welcome. I appreciate you coming over. Absolutely love the channel and Locked On Chiefs content as well. Keep up the great work. Well, thanks, Miami. I appreciate you. And I'm glad to be able to spread the word. Cole does great work, and we've had a great relationship going on here. So definitely different flavors of Chiefs Kingdom, but appreciate you being here. And thanks for coming over and even contributing to the channel. Much appreciated. Dez, if we miss out on D-Hop, is Budda Baker a good option? I love Budda's game. And I would say that even with the acquisitions they've made, I would love to see Budda Baker on this roster. I'm okay with Brian Cook staying in that third safety role for now if Budda were to be acquired. And I won't put it past Brett Veach to be on the phone for D-Hop and say, oh, by the way, you want to give me Budda too? Budda's the predecessor of Trent McDuffie. Played at Washington back in the day. Like, they come from the same system. And I do think that means something. So I do love that option, Des. Thanks for bringing that up. What do the dots and arrows mean? Dots and arrows, I assume you mean on this, or if you're talking about my draft board, the red dots are red cards, basically guys that have injury status and either didn't finish the draft process or a little bit behind, couldn't give us data enough to really track them in the matrix. Arrows either mean that they were a riser in the Senior Bowl or the East-West, and that they came from a level like Tommy Adewale, who had a third, maybe a fourth round grade going in to the end of the season in college, and then in the pre-draft process has risen, but his film still says he's a third or fourth round option. So that's a guy, because you want to make sure that you're containing artificial inflation. If it's based solely on a Senior Bowl performance or great athleticism, still has to go back to the film, because if you don't know how to use it, you got to be careful that you don't overvalue things like that. So that's where we're at. Let's check on the results. Looks like I will try to get to a fullback, you guys. Derek Parrish is my preference here because he can play edge too. He's a really unique guy, and honestly does a lot of what I used to do. So I have a soft spot in my heart for him. Ajomo, Luke, Ajomo, Schoon. Man, we're pretty tight. But I will say this. I think Ajomo is probably the better selection here because I think there's going to be better depth. Tight end is a deeper position, in my opinion, than the interior defensive line. So let's put Ajomo on the roster here. We're going to get down to the next pick, and we will set it up for you guys. Let's see here. Next question. Is there a position group besides tackle that is of need that you want the Chiefs to stay away from that you haven't talked about? That I want to stay away from? Not necessarily. I think they've done a good job of covering their bases and getting to the point where they can do what they need to do. So I'm pretty comfortable with it, to tell you the truth, Trevor. Okay, we are down at 144. Now we have some options on the board. Chase Brown, the Illinois running back, is on the board. So is Vaughn. That's good. He's lasted to this point. That's probably correct. Brenton Strage is here. Another backup tackle in Braden Daniels is there. Kayshon Boutte is here. And I know some people want to take a risk on him, and I do think it's a risk. Let's be real. My favorite safety in the class is here. Yeah, he's my favorite. Chris Smith. I'm a Skinner fan as well. I do like him. So we're looking okay here. We could use a weapon still, right? Boutte's there. I do like that he's there. And then we have the tight end list. We're going to be able to go back to Kuntz is here. Allen's here. Wiley's here. Leitu's here, a guy that can be a great outlet and like a blocking third tight end kind of guy. And we're hitting the 20-minute mark, folks, so we're going to speed this up a little bit, and then we're going to get to the rest of the Super Chats. And I do appreciate everyone in their participation so far. And if I've missed a Super Chat, y'all let me know in the chat because without Dan here to kind of monitor, I'm going a little bit faster than I usually do. So there's some Deuce fans in here, a lot of Deuce. McClendon. I do believe McClendon should still be available. We can check that. And I do like that option. You guys have heard me talk about that before. Carter Warren's here. And yes, Warren McClendon. There's two Warrens in this draft. He's still available, and I think he will be for quite a while. And there's some interesting guys there. Schoon did go off the board when we did not select him. So that was our visible choice. But there's still a lot of interesting tight end options here. So I think we're okay. Kuntz, Anderson, wide receiver, wide receiver. Okay, so let's look at wide receivers, and we'll take that down to an A, B, and we'll figure out what we're doing. So there is Kayshon Boutte. He's the biggest name on the board. Xavier Hutchinson is more athletic, I have to tell you. And some folks do like him. And the guy that is the most productive on this list that's still here is Charlie Jones. So let's narrow it down to that. We'll go a three-way. Is it Boutte, Hutchinson, or Charlie Jones? Vote in the chat, and we'll get that done. And Des, I do think that Parker Washington does have to be a similar role to Sky. There's room for him, but I think that's a little bit of a stretch, honestly. A couple of Hutchinsons so far. I do like that. I was watching the throwback drafts, and the NFL channel said that John Ross was a bust in the first round from the Bengals. Hutch, Jones, Hutch, Boutte, Hutch, Jones, Charlie, Hutch, Boutte, Hutch. Hutch has it, folks. We're going to go Xavier Hutchinson. And you guys made the selection. I'm happy that you did. I like having strong opinions. Well done. That was great. We're going to get down to our next one at 134. And I think this opens it up. This is where I start to look at everything that could happen. And what that means is, let's see if I can scroll this a little bit better. Chase Brown, Deuce Vaughn are now on the table for me. Anthony Johnson's solid. KJ Henry is a nice developmental edge. I do like him. Marte Mapu is a cross between a nickel linebacker and a safety that has some great stuff going on. Boutte is still there. Kendrick Coburn is there. My guy Chris Smith is still here. You get into Davis Allen, the tight end, and Charlie Jones is still here. I think he will be here for quite a bit, to tell you the truth. And then you get down to love Jackson Kirkland. I don't know that his career is going to be long enough for me to take a vote here. Got a couple of deuces, and we have a KJ Henry, and we have a Coburn. So let's narrow it down to this. Let's go KJ Henry or Deuce Vaughn. You guys make the selection in the chat. Starting now, first deuce is in from Jimmy. And I will answer one of the super chats in the meantime. I don't see BJ Ojulari on the board. Curious where you have him. If I omitted him, I will get that corrected tonight because he is definitely on my board. And you are absolutely right. I am incorrect. So I have to make that correction as well. He will be my edge 5. He will be just above Will McDonald, just at the top of the second round. Thank you, Max. I appreciate you. And thank you for the super chat support as well. So I have 2 changes I have to make. Thank you for setting it out. Ralph, I have to admit, I've been up late the last few nights trying to get all this done and get everything set out for this week. It's going to be a long one, and I'm traveling on Wednesday. So appreciate the support and the help, Max. Ralph, just logged on. Do you think the Chiefs may use their draft capital from next year for roster spots being limited, being in KC? I think that's certainly a possibility. And I do think if they get the right deal with the right player, whether it's D-Hop or someone else, I do think we could see a player movement here on this weekend. Let's see. Looks like it's KJ, Deuce. Looks like KJ has it for now. We'll do that, and we'll see how far Deuce survives. I think he may be here next time. So KJ Henry onto the roster. And then thank you again, Ralph. Appreciate your support, buddy. Jackson, do you see the Chiefs trading up for Perry in the 3rd? Possibly. I could even see them taking him in the 2nd if Tillman is already gone. I do have them very, very close, and I have Mingo below them. So I think Mingo would be the 3rd of the 3. But I do think he is a viable candidate. So it all depends on the volume. And then Hayden was asking, how similar is Zay Flowers and Sky Moore? Both seem to be best as slot receivers, was catching with Patrick smoke and mirrors. It was definitely not smoke and mirrors. I think that's one of the things they were trying to figure out. Is there enough diversity there? Can he do enough things? I think Zay can go outside sometimes. He's got to be a Z where he's off the line of scrimmage and he doesn't have to face press. But he is more sudden than Sky. Sky's more smooth, more yak, I think. Whereas Zay Flowers is more sudden out of his breaks, a little bit more reminiscent of what Tyreek did in terms of change of direction. I think they could coexist. The question is, what do you do with Tony then? If Tony can be outside all the time, then I think you could probably set that up, Hayden. Thank you for that question. I appreciate you. Okay, making sure I didn't miss a super chat. I will make sure. Let's see. Deuce to the Bills. Okay, McKinnon, Scruggs, Xavier Smith. Okay, so we were back. Juice Scruggs is a solid center. Chiefs don't need him, so won't go near him. If we're looking at running back, Keaton Mitchell should be at the top of the list. He is Matrix 1 in this class for the running backs. He is the best athlete at the position in this class. Chiefs have had Broderick Martin in. He's kind of a plugger type one tech. I do like his game, and I do think that he could do that. Let's see. Mike Morris is an edge tackle hybrid. He's one of those guys that's like oversized edge, but he could do some damage as well. I do like him in a rotation. Payne Durham will catch just about anything. He just doesn't have the oomph to run away from anybody. Let's see. There's backup quarterbacks in here. I do like Mekhi Blackmore's game. This is still a little early for me for him, but that's not terribly early. Let's see. Who else do we have here in the top? Helms is an underrated safety, I believe. I actually have him closer to Ronnie Hickman than PFF does here. And Starling Thomas has some good athleticism to go with it, as does Rajan Wright. So there's a lot of options there. So Nick, a couple of guys here for Keaton Mitchell. He'll be option A. And let's see. Good question on who's left with the tackles. Jordan McFadden isn't a guy that I want. Jake Witt is a phenom, but doesn't know what the heck he's doing. He should be a 7th round selection because he's got a lot of work to do. Trevor Reed is very similar in that he's super athletic. My guy, Warren McClendon, is here. And obviously a couple of you guys are looking at him too. Just let me know. Do you mean Warren McClendon or do you mean McClendon Curtis? And we'll sort that out. And let's see. Little Caddy, what did you have to say? KT looking like he was going to get 6-game suspension in this photo with Mahomes. Yeah, it looked a little bit out there. I won't disagree with you at all. Broderick Martin or Fehoko, Mark Wells said. What are the chances the Chiefs make 2 first-round picks? Thin. I think, unlike last year, I think it's going to be combining picks to move up is what I think will happen. Let's see. Mitchell. There's a Warren. There's another Mitchell. Starling Thomas vote. There's another Keaton. It looks like we want to go explosive running back here. I can get down with that. Fehoko is an interesting guy, but I don't know that he's a Spags type dude, so I'd probably hold off on that. And maybe we'll try to come back for Warren McClendon next because we pick again in 12 picks. So let's go Keaton Mitchell at the running back spot, as you guys had said. Warren Mitchell. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Did Warren McClendon go? Broderick Martin did. Horton did. Jackson Kirkland did. And then Johnson did not. Starling Thomas did. So we could go Fehoko. I don't think that we should. There's another couple of guys in there that I think are interesting. That's defensive interior. Let's look at edge. Mike Morris. I mean, Brock Chalk, Lonnie Phelps is out there. Ramirez, Incombe. These are all developmental guys that I think could go. Oligay is a Spags type dude, but Warren McClendon is still available. And I know we've been asking about him and he wanted to get another tackle to kind of pair with what you're doing. I think that's a smart move. So let's go put him on the roster and we'll get to 217 and we'll answer little Caddy's question. Oh, I meant for PEDs. Sorry, Caddy. I misunderstood you there. But I appreciate another super chat. Didn't need to do that, dude. So yeah, like he does look a little bit thicker to me. He's got more development in his shoulders. It looks like more definition, which I can appreciate because I think that's armor that people don't talk about Tyreek enough, in that he was built out in a way much like Steve Smith was, where they have enough upper body armor to really survive contact. And I do think that helps them. As being smaller guys, I think that's something that you need. Belceris, you're absolutely right. Mike Morris should be a Spags guys. We'll see if he's still here. My favorite backup quarterback level guy is here. That's Clayton Tune. Lonnie is still here. Incombe is still here. There's Jake Witt, another developmental tackle. Ronnie Bell is a nice wide receiver, like possession type guy. I do like him. Trevor Reed is still here, another athletic tackle type. Matt Landers is a pretty athletic dude as well. Let's see here. You guys wanted to look at Cropper. Was that it? Yes, Jalen Moreno Cropper is still here. He is Jake Hayner's favorite target. I can get down with that. Ronnie Bell, I think, is a little bit more productive, or will be in the league, I mean. And then there's the quarterback, Tune. We have an edge rusher. We can try to come back for Lonnie again in a little bit if we want. So let's go. Jalen Moreno-Cropper right now as the top wide receiver on the board versus, who was it that you guys wanted besides that? Oh, Clayton Tune, the backup quarterback. Put that in the chat and let's see where we get, folks. Yes, BJ Thompson-Lovebat is definitely an athletic dude, and he is on the Chiefs' radar. He's had a visit with them. And I am counting on him being down the line, I want to say. I don't even know if PFF includes him, to tell you the truth. Because Beal and Jeremiah Martin are guys that I think are possibly at least high-end UDFAs. Okay, it looks like Cropper. There's a couple of tunes. Cropper it is. Well selected, folks. Add another weapon possibility there. And he is pretty quick. Clayton 2 did go nearly immediately, as did Lonnie Phelps. That's kind of the way that it goes. Elijah Higgins goes. He's going to be a nice tight end conversion. I do like him. Puka Nacua goes. I like him as well. And now we're down to just taking the guys that you want to take because they might be, some grit. Jonah Tavai is much like Kalijah Kancey in that he's totally undersized and just penetrates gaps and he makes plays. You could add him on a whim. Jake Witt is like the phenom tackle possibility that you could go for. Ronnie Bell is still here. We have back-to-back picks. There's BJ Thompson. We can take him. Michael Jones here. Derek Parrish is, like I said, both an edge rusher and a fullback. He's played both. I do like him a lot. We could add him. Have a couple of votes for Bell right in here and a Parrish. Let's see what you guys like. Looks like that's what we're looking at. We're just going to double check the tackles because Jake Witt is still there, as is Trevor Reed. The two super athletic dudes, although I have to say, KU's Earl Bostic is not far off, and Dalton Wagner has been in for a visit with the Kansas City Chiefs. So we have to keep that as well. Looks like Parrish vote. I love that. Appreciate you guys. Ronnie Bell, Parrish, Jonah Tavai. No kicker. Not taking a kicker. Can't do it, Dre. I'm sorry, buddy. Not taking a kicker. I'll sign one, but I'm not taking one. Parrish. We already got Cropper. Looks like Parrish is in the lead. Is Ronnie Bell next? Is Jake Witt next? We have two selections to make. We will go with Derek Parrish. And do they even list fullback? No, I didn't think that they did. But Derek should be in here. And if he's not, I'm just going to have to search him because I scrolled too far to be able to make it easy. There he is. Derek Parrish on the board. Our next pick is going to be whatever you guys have. Cropper, Parrish. There's Bell or Jonah. Tight end, Bell. Let's check the tight ends before we make this last selection. Braden Willis has some attributes that you can build on, as does Travis Vokalek. Those would be my favorite two on this board. I don't know that either of them move the needle for me over Bell, except Bell has probably they both have hard time to make the roster. So looks like Bell has it. Any last calls for anyone else? Bell. And Bell. Okay, looks like we're pretty much built in on Ronnie Bell. I like that decision, you guys. You did good. Okay, well done. We got through that draft. Again, I would love for you guys to go check out the draft board. It's at NFL33.com. That will get you to the Substack. And then you can download this. I will have it updated here tonight to actually say 2023 and have BJ Ojulari on it, the two mistakes that I made. Thank you for pointing them out, Max. I appreciate you. So do that. And while you're over there, check out the rest of the content. You can see partials on some of the paid content, but you can sign up anytime you like. We appreciate the support, and we have a great staff doing stuff over there. So long and short, I thought this was a pretty good night. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a little bit quicker than normal. We're going to do full Q&A tomorrow night like we always do. And then we're going to be in preparation for the draft itself. I'll be in Kansas City by Wednesday. I'm traveling there on Wednesday, and we'll probably set up a time where I can say, hey, I'm going to be at this place. It's probably going to be some kind of brewery or tavern of some kind. And if anybody wants to come out and hang out, very cool. Not doing a formal thing. Just going to let you know where I land and where we can maybe sit down and hang out for a little bit. I'd love to see anybody that cares to come out. It'd be a lot of fun. So we will do that, but we'll have content for you all tomorrow, as well as the rest of the week. And then we are live streaming the entire draft. Dan, the rest of our crew will be in and out and in and out. I'm getting to it, Trevor. Going to come back to it in just a second after the announcements. Here it is. Let me get it back on the screen. There we go. And hide the comment. Cheers. Okay, so we started with Darnell Wright. Got the right tackle. We have the edges set now. Derek Hall comes in on the other side, as does Moro Ajomo. Now we're rushing the passer with some fresh blood inside and out. I like that. Come back with Xavier Hutchinson, a guy that can man the X and is more athletic than he appears on film, tested really well, and I do think can fit in and play a role, especially as a fourth rounder. Then we come back with KJ Henry, who can rush the passer already and has a pretty good set of skills already. He does need some honing. He'll be there. And then we come back with Keaton Mitchell as the kind of home run hitter, elite athleticism running back. Warren McClendon we come back with, and even though PFF didn't like it, I certainly like it. And now we have a swing tackle in the works, and now we have Lucas Niang, and now we feel like we could sustain an injury and still be okay. So I really love that we did that as well. Then we come back with Jalen Moreno-Cropper, give us another option on the wide receiver group. And you really can't have enough. You just want them to keep fighting for it, especially when we have guys that kind of overlap in skill sets. Then we come back with Derek Parrish, who can play edge, can play fullback, can play teams, can do it all for you. He will really help this roster across the board. I really like that one. And then we finish off with Ronnie Bell. In the end, I think we covered a lot of the aspects. We got doubles at positions that we needed. And I think the Chiefs are really going to be pretty well off after this haul. See if I can get the whole thing on the screen at once. There we go. So there is your draft. I hope you guys dug it. Thank you for helping me make all the selections. You guys rocked it. I very much appreciate it. First day of draft week is tomorrow. Q&A tomorrow night. Go get the draft board over at NFL 33. I'll have that updated here shortly. I appreciate you guys all tonight. Thanks for being here. And thanks for all the support in the super chats. And look forward to tomorrow night where we do Q&A at 6 Central. Have a great night. We'll talk to you next time.